Hi, everyone. It's Jason Mada with American Pacific Mortgage. Well, over the last week, we've seen some market changes as it relates to rates. In fact, on Monday, on the first time buyer program, we saw rates drop to as low as 6%. That was what we saw equal to April of 2023's rate. So, really encouraging sign there. That was a little bit short lived because as we now move through the rest of the week, we saw rates kind of tick back up to 6.5%. But nonetheless, we're seeing these kind of interest rate levels bring buyers back to the market. In fact, some of the buyers that we pre-approved back in maybe 2023 or earlier parts of 2024 are now kind of re-entering the market. Now, what does that mean to us as prospective buyers? Well, we're starting to see more buyer demand out there. And then from an inventory level, we really haven't seen inventory change too much at this point. So obviously, it's going to become more of a competitive market for some of our buyers. And we'll kind of see what happens when it comes to sales prices and how that maybe changes the landscape in the market. Now, a lot of buyers are kind of speculating about what's going to happen with interest rates, right? And, everybody has their own theories. Well, at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve has a pretty big meeting coming up in September. There's some speculation that rates are going to be cut by 0.5%. And I think it's important as buyers to understand what does that mean to you in your buying power and ultimately what your interest rate could look like. Well, first of all, if the Federal Reserve decides to cut rates 0.5%, it's not a one-to-one ratio for your interest rate in a mortgage. There's other factors that go into your mortgage interest rate, like economic climate, your credit score, how much your down payment is. So it's not necessarily a one-to-one ratio. Now, we will probably see rates dip a little bit as we get closer to that Federal Reserve meeting, and depending on what economic news is coming out, that will kind of move the market one way or another. Now, if you're considering about jumping back into the housing market, or maybe you're a first time buyer and you want to say, I want to kind of look at some of my options, we'd encourage you to get connected with us. Or maybe if you want to kind of learn more about your first time buyer resources, to be able to get connected with us, we'd encourage you to visit us at mortgageeducate.com.